I'm going to recognize myself for my 5 minutes here, but I would suggest that this is, as we started off, I said this would be the first of its kind, and I meant that we're going to have to keep pushing this. So I think maybe a week ago, Elon Musk announced Grok 4, and he talked about artificial intelligence, and Grok 4 is going to have the intelligence, it already has beyond a PhD, engineering, science, genius, etc. Artificial superintelligence. And we've touched on it lightly here today, using different terms, but I guess my question is, at what point do we no longer see computational decision-making with a human first mover, and you have a algorithmically iterative process that essentially, and we're there in some extent now, but we're not totally there because human interaction still is the first mover. But at some point, it won't be a human that's the first mover anymore. It'll be the algorithm itself. And how long before we get there? How do we get there and prevent the crime and provide the deterrence that is necessary? And so for the hypothetical I'll give you, how long before adjudicating whether there's probable cause or not for a search warrant or arrest warrant is merely algorithmically sustained, as opposed to having a human make that determination? So with that bizarre question, but acknowledging that we are actually moving so rapidly that we probably thought by 2050 you'd be getting to artificial superintelligence, but it looks like maybe before 2030 you're going to be in artificial superintelligence. Dr. Baum. And then we'll go down the whole panel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So certainly a thought-provoking exercise. I'm glad we're still at the point where it's an exercise and not reality, but I recognize that we may not be far from there. Before we get to artificial general intelligence, or before we get to certainly artificial superintelligence, and those are still theoretical, not a foregone conclusion, there is this very powerful and very rapidly increasing agentic AI, and where we start to see some of what you described already taking place at a admittedly lesser extent than what we would if it were true AGI or ASI. But we still have algorithms that are making decisions on behalf of humans that are able to do so at speed and often at a scale that it certainly makes it difficult for the human agent to observe and to be a part of. And so it really depends on how much trust, how much authority we provide those agents, and what those models, how are they fine-tuned to limit that. And so I do believe, as you said, Mr. Chairman, this is the first of hopefully many, having some of those industries, some of those private sector companies describe that so that this subcommittee and Congress can ensure that they are able to predict and know and set up those guardrails if necessary to limit what you're concerned about.
Ms. Berman. And since we only have a minute left, each of you get 20 seconds.
Thank you. Very interesting question. I think we see AI agents making simple decisions today. I think for more complex decisions, as the models can do more complex reasoning in the next few years, it really should come down to how important is the decision, and then what transparency and explainability we can get from the model, and how much human oversight is necessary. I think it really depends on how risky that individual decision is where we should hopefully see the rollout for these different autonomous decisions.
I'm going to build directly on that. The role of AI is a choice, and laws passed in Texas, the National Security Memorandum that governs national security uses of AI, say that certain things are off limits for artificial intelligence. And you mentioned probable cause. That strikes me as a core foundational tenet of due process that should probably be truly a human activity. And that is a policy choice that we make of what will be human, what will be AI, and where will humans be in the loop.
I've never seen anything move as fast as this has moved in my lifetime. And while I don't have a great answer for how long, it's certainly coming. And if I could leave this committee with anything today, it's that we need to move as quickly, building the tools, working with this body in order to provide the right laws there. As an old school prosecutor, I'm happy with judges still making decisions around probable cause. But I do think we really need to ensure that we also are using the tools defensively to meet this moment.
Great. Thank you all for being here. My time has expired. There's so much more to cover with this, and like I say, it's just the first, and hopefully we'll get back together soon and continue this. Please feel free to contact myself or the ranking member. I'm assuming that's okay. Absolutely. She says that's okay, because we want to have a dialogue and see where there's holes, where there's gaps. Let us know. We want to do stuff that's preventative without being constraining, if that's possible. So thank you. With that, we are adjourned.